Hi guys, welcome back. I am going to be talking about networking, how I got all my networks as of today, kind of the tips and tricks I went through and things I wish I knew when I first started networking. And don't mind me if I am staring off to the side. I'm kind of like a teacher. I like to have my little agenda and checklist of what I'm going to say because I want to say all the important parts. And so yeah, I tend to do that in my video. Don't know if you caught that on, but without further ado, I'm going to tell you some tips and tricks, especially as someone with zero networks, where to start and how to do it. Because I am a first gen student, and so I had no networks to begin with, if that makes sense. The ones that my parents had were obviously not in the field I wanted to do. Um, and so the first thing is how to get to be to have a network is getting yourself out there, practicing talking to strangers, and even if you're kind of nervous to talk to strangers, because I was been there, done that, do small talk. Hello, hi, how are you doing? Yes, it's boring, but you're practicing on actual strangers, and so you're getting rid of that kind of nervousness of actually being scared to talk to a stranger. And so when you do network, it's kind of like, well, I've already passed that, you know, because I see a lot of comments that's like, how are you so confident or X, Y, and Z on like different posts. I've also been asked that personally myself too. And it's just honestly practice and putting yourself out of your comfort zone multiple times, a lot of times throughout the whole year for the rest of your life. And that's how you build the confidence to be able to talk to strangers, to be able to talk in front of a room, X, Y, and Z. Next is use your workplace to make friends or connections, and they'll connect you to other people. So this honestly depends on where you work, to be honest, because and if you want to use it, if you want to network for a specific reason. But let's say if you want to network for a job. So for example, I had good when I used to work in retail. I was really good connections with the manager. Like treated them with respect. They treated me with respect. And so when I transferred over to a different college, they literally got me a job at a different location. And so that goes to show you that like one person that you know at this store location can help you find another job. Um, for school, let's say if you're a student, for example, because I want to do multiple examples because I don't know who's watching this video. But if you're in school, your teachers, your networks, your mentors, your counselors are your networks in a sense. And so if you want something or want to talk to them about a specific subject, a topic, um, build up rapport with them, that relationship, and then sometimes they become your mentors and they're able to hand you their networks or know a person or two. That whether it's research, a job, even volunteering. Volunteering is a good way to get your foot in the door for networking because one, you're all there for a good cause, anyways, and two, you just never know who you're gonna meet. And so that's the first thing I said earlier is putting yourself out there. For me, how I made networks as an educator is yap, talk. There's some people that you like more than others, and so I connected with them, and they were able to give me opportunities. I grew up pretty introverted, by the way, as a high school student. Like I sat in the front seat or in the back seat, or depending on what type of class, obviously. And I only rose my hand if I needed to answer a question, and so I went from like being very nervous, talking to people, talking in front of crowds, to being able to talk in front of a lot of people, do presentations at headquarters, and so I built to that momentum. And sometimes I guess when I meet new people and stuff like that, they see the persona or person that I am today. And let me remind you that that's been built. This person is built brick by brick. And so just because someone looks confident and looks like they can present in front of thousands of people, panelists, conventions or what, just know that they built their way up there. And so everyone starts from somewhere. And so don't be intimidated by your progress and just keep going. Next is go to events, go to conferences. depending on what field you are, there's always going to be events. For example, if you are in education, there's always educational events to nonprofits, big organizations, cultural organizations. If you're in the work field, like for example, like AI, they have a ton of AI conferences. I've seen a bunch. I just didn't want to go to them because the cost out of cost pockets, out of pocket costs were expensive. There is some local free events that you can find on Eventbrite, like connecting like business people. There's always going to be events, networking opportunities, and the more you get yourself out there, the better. If you know somebody, like for example, if you met a friend or a mentor or that's in that field, they probably know of events, so go there. And oh my god, oh my god, I think that was a carrot stuck in my teeth. Excuse me. Keeping it real with y'all, cause I'm not gonna edit that out. I think. I mean, the more you network, the more you get out. There's even places that you pay to get special access and network to. Oh, excuse me, that was my cat. You pay to get into certain rooms and certain places. As of this moment, I don't need to go to those places because I currently do not do business at the moment. I know other people do, and I'm in education, so I do pay for conferences and things like that and for events. And so and I didn't do that in the beginning, by the way. So I built my way up, and then I saw the value of like going to these places and out of pocket money for these events. And yeah, and so next is practice public speaking. I think that does tie into networking because when you network, you're kind of putting yourself out there, and so being able to public speak with your friends, with a group of people, like find a topic that, let's say, like you need to pitch an idea to your boss, or you want to pitch your business idea, like actually like make it a serious event and like pitch it to a bunch of people. When I first started out, like presenting in front a bunch of like 20 kids, high school students, I was nervous. Like, I was literally shaking my boots. But I got over it because I had to do it over and over and over and over again. And that's what helps you because it is practice that makes perfect. My cat's got the zoomies, excuse me. Um, and then also understand that people are not there to judge you. 99% of people really don't give a fuck. And they're also here to succeed. As they say it, it's very true. People who are up there succeeding CEOs, things like that. They've also started from the bottom, and so if they see you trying, they're not gonna judge you because they've been there, and they've been in your shoes before, and that's also me when I see people starting out with like social media, content creation, school, being the first to go to college, being the first in their family to like be the black sheep or doing something outside of the norms of their family, like, and it's hard, and they're like, I can't do it, and I'm like, you can, like, and I don't judge them for it, obviously, because a part of me sees myself in them, and so it's like people who do judge you for doing anything, like, they're very unhappy in life. I've talked to many educators, I've been to many network events, I've been to a lot of places in public, private events, you say it, you name it, I've been there, and people who really watch you like trying to like like the backhanded compliments, they're the ones that are unhappy with life and they're projecting because I've been in places where I worked my ass off and I've been able to present at, semi important places like, as a 24-year-old, as a 25-year-old. And so, mind you, I'm pretty young compared to other educators in the field who may have been there for decades. And so I've had once a backhanded compliment like, oh, like, how did you even get to speak there? And the tone was giving WTF, but obviously I keep it professional, and I'm just like, well, the opportunity came up, I made the presentation, like I've been doing presentations and built educational content for a while now, and so they saw the value in my work and they asked if I wanted to present, and I said sure because information giving to these students, it's more important than my ego. Like, I'll do it for free because this is important, and so yeah. Anyways, they projected, didn't understand why until later. But yeah, and so don't mind you that. Also, a good way to build networks is having mentors. Mentors are important and they open doors for you. They know events and their network is awesome because they built it for a long time. So I am currently 25 years old, and my network is pretty limited, obviously, compared to someone who's in their 50s or 60s or 70s. And so my network may seem a lot to someone who's in high school or who's a freshman or sophomore in college, you know? And so having someone else that can mentor you, one is awesome because they help you build you as a person. They, you see life through their eyes and open experiences, open doors and stuff. And so that's always neat because they know people that you don't. And so that opens another set of doors that you've never thought before. And through those doors, to those events, and to those networks, you also build more. Because if you think about it, it's like they have their network and you slowly start building yours, and then you meet their network and their networks know other people, and then there's other people at those events. And so on top of that, you build additional networks that they don't have. And so because they help you, you help them back. Sometimes relationships or some incidents are a give and take. And so that's one thing awesome that's about networking is that, depending on what you do and what field you are, you guys are all kind of going towards the same goal, or you guys are working on a project. You want X, you guys have X problem, and you guys trying to solve, Y solution. And so that's cool. Next is just kind of tips and tricks and rule of thumbs, things like that. It is always good to keep good connections with everyone you meet. Y'all, I said this in another video. Be very classy, be always demure, be always very respectful to everyone you meet. Obviously, you don't know what's going on in their lives. And yeah. And obviously, like, not everyone is going to like you anyways. And so if you think all of your networks are going to be awesome and awesome, awesome and awesome, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get it. And so, but obviously treat everyone with respect because your reputation is very important. How you hold yourself up as a person is very important. Also, your character behind closed doors is going to be tested. And so, don't fall into that trap. I've been put in multiple situations where I'm like hanging out with friends or groups or networking, and then they just, you know, talk trash about other people, or they talk trash about their friend. And I'm like, no, like, come on guys, we're better than that. And I've had said that before where I'm just like, I had to like pause the room and be like, y'all, let's not judge, like, we just met these people. Or like when friends are trying to like start rumors, I'm just like, no, like we're better than this, like let's not do that. And also, like, if you're not comfortable telling that friend in their face, are you really their friend? And so obviously I had some friendships where I'm like, let me limit my access to them because that's not good. But yeah, because there's a saying that's like, if you know someone that's comfortable openly talking trash about someone, just imagine what they'll say to you behind closed doors. And so that's also a rule of thumb I kind of carry around with networking, because when you network with so many people and you meet people of all walks of life, it's also very important to try to judge people's character. Not too judgmental, but like, take everyone with a grain of salt, because not everyone you meet is going to become your inner network, but they may help out one day and you never know. Also, this is on a more positive note, but networks are also good because it offers give and take advice and assistance. And so one good thing about networks is not only can they give you something, but you also give them something back in return. So I give a lot of people advice, free advice. Sometimes when we networking, we kind of stray off the topic, and I'm giving people personal life advice, and they're giving me stories. And so sometimes it's not even like the sake of networking. Sometimes you actually build long-lasting relationships from these networks, and so that's the one thing that's really awesome, because I do know some people where I'm like, we may have not talked in a hot minute, but when we connected like really awesome. Like, we're here for our mission, and we're just so like, we're not in the same state, like they'll live in a whole different side of part of this country. And so when we do connect, we know that it's because like we still are fighting the same mission. And for me, that's fighting for students' rights and things like that. And so when we reconnect, it's like, how are you doing, what's up, how's life going, like, are you going to this next event? And And so it's okay if your network is not someone you talk to every day. Mind you, there's different levels of networks in a network depending on the purpose that you need them for, um, and they need you for. Also, another tip is understand that later on, when you do build your network, is being decisive of who is in your inner network. Not everyone has good intentions or the same goal mindset. So, for example, like you wanted to work on X project, but they don't see no value in it. Right off the bat, you can tell that they wouldn't want to work on that project. So, like, let's say, for example, mm, I don't know, trying to find a personal example, but I can't. My mind's going blank. So let me just use the first thing that popped up in mind. Let's say like my friend wanted to build me and my friend wanted to build a Pilates business, and we go to Pilates, so we know how much the equipment is, how much hours we need, the people we need to like hire, the process for that, the cost per person to pay hourly, the cost for maintenance of the building, the cost of utilities, bills, the estimate of that, insurance, X, Y, and Z for the facility, and also doing a research of where should we go because location is very important for Pilates, X, Y, and Z. How are we reaching out? Are we doing social media manager? Are we doing it ourselves? X, Y, and Z. Do we need to buy equipment for that? And so, as you can see, there's a lot intel to go in it. And let's say, like, I had a network, who like, oh, like I don't even think you should put it in this place, or like they're very kind of like against everything you do. They're not gonna be a good network for this project to begin with, and so just bye bye. Or they don't even see the value in Pilates. Bye. And so that same thing with other projects and networking events too. It's like, not everyone's gonna be everything for you, and so yeah, very self-mandatory if that makes sense. But also, I think a good rule of thumb that I've learned when networking is how to tell if a person is a good person and a good network to keep is actions over words, how they carry themselves, and characters. That's how you can tell who's a good person and a good network to trust. Because as I always, I've learned this, I was never really taught this, but how someone holds themselves up, the self respect, how they treat people. Like I'm talking like waiters, staff, like even when no one's looking at them, like opening doors for strangers, X, Y, and Z, like they do this without anyone asking. Like they do this like all the time and they're not pretending. Like that shows good character, that shows good integrity, and that's a good sign that they'll be a good business partner. Because one thing I've said multiple times in my circle and my network to people is that one thing I really hate cheaters. And if I see a guy or a female have cheated and they do business, I do not trust that person right off the bat, because if you can cheat on your partner, you can cheat on business. I think morals and morality has to do a lot with business, because if they can lose a trust in someone so dear to them, they're not gonna give a fuck when they do business with me. And so I would really stray away from those people that do people dirty, scam people, um, pull a fast one on people. I would never do business with them. That's too volatile. That's like playing with stocks that go up and down like that. That's too stressful. If I do business with people, I want it to be straightforward communication, everything in documentation, everything written out, and clauses that protect not only me but you as well when we do business. And so yeah, that's all I gotta say. Um, yeah. And then the last thing is that I finally want to say in this video is don't get bummed out if someone you wanted to network with or not what they seem to be. It's okay. I met a lot of people, and we talked about great ideas and projects and brainstorming, and it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever seen that chart where it's like you get a business idea and you talk about it and then it just falls off, and then like you never do anything because then you just repeat that cycle of like talking about it and never doing it, talk about it and never doing it, and so you just kind of like, eh. And then there's those people where like you talk about it, you do it, you practice, you fail, but then it just successful. The project is successful because you see it to the end. And so some people are not going to be like that. Some people are just going to be like in that circle with you of like constant talk, and like they want you kind of like a quotation soundboard validation, and they'll never actually do anything about it. And so that's okay. As I said earlier, trust actions over words with any relationships, any business partners, any networks. I believe in actions and results and what people have to offer. And so yeah. And as always, if it doesn't work out, whatever project you're doing, I always say you can't see it now, but rejection is always redirection. It's God or the universe, whoever you believe in, is protecting you if the plan didn't work out, and that's okay. And so, yeah, I hope everything in this video was useful. If it was, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any networking tips that I did not mention in this video, feel free to comment down below because I also want to know as well, because who doesn't want free tips? But yeah, thank you. I hope this video helped you out and you enjoyed it. And have fun networking.